Alright, how are we all doing? My channel Lex Originality here, and today we're going to be doing a live stream today. And in the background I got some Black Ops 3 zombies gameplay, I guess. So, yeah. Just to make this a bit more relevant to the video, we're going to be playing Verrucht, and today I'm going to be talking about the rumours going around that Treyarch might remaster CoD WaW War and give you my thoughts on the matter. So let's begin with the fact that it's very unlikely.
Maybe someone should go turn on the power now.
I think that Treyarch won't do it. That's just what I think. I highly doubt that Treyarch will actually remaster CoD WaW War. And even if they do, I have worries. My first one being that they will censor the game. As you know, if you've been playing Call of Duty for a long time, like I have, the first CoD I played was Call of Duty 2, and I still remember that game really well. You will remember that the games back then were not censored at all. You had everything. You had gore, you had swastikas, you had everything as it should have been. Nowadays, though, with games like CoD World War 2 and yeah, CoD World War 2, you're seeing a lot of censorship where, for example, instead of swastikas, you're seeing iron crosses, and I will talk about that later. So, expanding on censorship, I don't think it's good, because you're branding the game as, oh yeah guys, you remember the game we made in 2008, CoD World War? You guys loved that, so we're going to bring it to you again, except this time you're not going to see as much blood, and there's going to be no swastikas. Initially completely ruining your immersion. You remember that game that you liked so much because it was uncensored? Well, now we're going to censor it, and you're going to like it, or you're not going to buy. That's my problem with the censorship in modern games, that it's no longer what it's branded as. It's no longer World at War Remastered, it's World at War Remade. So there's no point calling it a remaster, because that's something it's not anymore. You know what I mean? It's completely pointless to call it a remaster, because you and I both know that that's not what it is.
Just what the doctor ordered.
Next up is my problem with the fact that Call of Duty doesn't seem to have the same definition of remaster as the rest of the other, as other game companies do. You see, back in the late 2000s and early 2010s, when someone remastered a game, when a game company remastered a game, it really was a remaster. It was the same game, just with better graphics. That's literally all it was. However, for some reason, Call of Duty doesn't have the same mentality as the other game companies. To them, a remaster isn't just to make the graphics better, it's also to change some of the sounds, add in some features that weren't there before, and also somehow ruin movement systems. They did all of what I just said in Modern Warfare Remastered. To be honest, when I first heard of Modern Warfare Remastered, I was hoping that they were going to sell it separately. Eventually they did do that, but this is before they even thought of that. So me wanting to play CoD 4 again, or so I thought, I splashed out £50 on the Infinite Warfare Deluxe Edition. I only played Infinite Warfare once, and I never played it again because I thought it was that bad. And then I install Modern Warfare Remastered, I start it up, and it looks all good. I feel like I'm playing that game again just with better graphics. I complete the campaign in like a day or two, because, I like the old campaigns in CODs. The new ones are just shit. And so I complete the campaign, and I'm happy because it was a good experience. And then I go onto multiplayer, and I was like, well, if they did the campaign this good, surely the multiplayer is as good as it used to be. I boot it up, and the first thing I see as soon as I go into the multiplayer menu is an updated screen where they actually show you the soldier, and then I saw supply drops. My silence just reinforces how disappointed I was when I saw supply drops. So then I look at the supply drops tab and I think to myself, okay, surely this can't be worse than this. They just added supply drops. I hope the gameplay will be the same. Fuck no. The gameplay was not the same. The movement system was weird in my opinion. I also think that some of the guns were substantially changed. Like for example, in my opinion, the AK didn't feel like it used to in the original. I thought that the recoil was a bit spongy, that kind of thing. And damn, I haven't played zombies in a long time. Yeah, you guys fucking see how long I haven't played zombies for. This gameplay's embarrassing. But that's missing the point, because we're talking about something here. And then, because of that, I didn't feel like I was playing that same game. I thought I was playing something completely different. And then, after I finished my first game, and I did reasonably well for my first game, I then maybe play 10 more rounds, and after I finish, I come to the conclusion that I got scammed, because this is not a remaster, it's a remake. In my opinion, some of the graphics looked a bit worse, if you know what I mean. Just didn't look as good, and what the fuck, where's my war machine? Alright, Treyarch. Maybe Treyarch can just hear me and they're punishing me for expressing concern over this. So, then, after I play those rounds, I come to the conclusion that I got scammed. Because, remember, if you wanted to play Modern Warfare Remastered, you had to have Infinite Warfare on your system as well. So that takes up even more space on your console. Or PC. Console in my case. And you just feel like you spent £50 or $60 or $70 for something that wasn't worth it. And that's exactly how I felt after I played Modern Warfare Remastered for a good day or two. And then, after that, I left the game for about a month, just to focus on other games like Project Cars, that kind of thing. You know, I mostly play racing games. And Battlefield 1. And then, yeah, and this is when Battlefield 1 was new and, you know, everyone was liking the game. When I say everyone, I mean most people who bought it. And then I come back to Modern Warfare Remastered like a month later, and I see that they've added new guns. And as soon as that happened, I said to myself that I would never buy another CoD game again, because it was just them shitting all over what the old fans called, you know, Genesis. The old fans, you know, like myself, we call games like Modern Warfare 2, World at War, Black Ops, and the good ones, we call those very good, or Genesis, because they were worth our time. They were good games, you know what I mean? Which toilet is it that flushes? I want to trigger the Easter egg. Right, I think I flushed once. So.
You fall like coddled bourgeois.
Right. Moving on with my list, we've got the matter of them straight up, you know, we have the matter of YouTubers straight up bullshitting us, because when my friend told me about Modern Warfare, World at War Remastered, I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. So then I looked it up, and turns out it was just a rumor, and the first video that I see in the recommended tab is fucking T Martin saying, and this is the thing, in the title it said, CoD WaW Remastered confirmed, and in the first 20 seconds of the video he says, guys, I just want to let you know, this information is not confirmed, which means that he just fucking lied to our faces. So, there's also the possibility of this being completely false. Treyarch might not remaster any game at all. Right, next up we've got them...
I don't like its beady
next up,
little eyes.
I want to talk about removed features from World at War. As good, despite being as good as World at War was, there was a lot of features that never made it to the final game. And if World at War Remastered happens, I think it would be cool if they added in some of these cut features. You want some examples of cut features? I'll run you through. first of all, did you know that there was meant to be a British campaign in the game? But before release, they cut it out. Even though in the game files there are models, there are special tank models. There's even mini maps and stuff cut out entirely in the game files. So that's proof that you know those maps or levels existed. So an entire section of the campaign got removed. Another thing that got removed was a game mode, and I think if this game mode would have made it into the game, it would have been really good. This game mode would have been called Tank War, and it's exactly what you think: vehicle combat, except in World at War, and it would have just been, you know, the standard tank maps, except no infantry. It's just you and tanks, and there's even unused tank models. For example, in the game files, from what I've seen, there was a model of the Type 97 Chiha, which is a Japanese tank that was used by them on the Pacific Front. If I'm going to be factual, it wasn't a very good tank. It had basically no armor and the cannon was pathetic. But still, you know, unused data, you know what I'm trying to say. So yeah, believe it or not, there was actually an unused tank model, which was the Type 97 Chiha. What else was there? There was unused Sherman models for winter levels. There was meant to be a map called Holland, and I think there was also one, yeah, and there was also one called Wetlands, which would have been Soviet Union versus Nazi Germany, and that would have had tanks. And I think there was a model for a winter variation of Tiger Tank. And as you know, the Tiger Tank, of course, did make it into World at War, but there was no winter model, as in there was no model with a winter camo. So I think if World at War Remastered does happen, it would be a good idea for Treyarch to add in some features that never actually made it into the game. That would actually, you know what, that could actually get me to buy World at War Remastered. Hoping they sell it separately, but of course, this being modern COD, that won't happen. They'll sell it as a bundle with Black Ops 4. And being honest, if the... Alright, just quickly before I finish the video, which is nowhere near finished, I'm just saying this right now. If World at War Remastered is uncensored, and I gotta take a drink, excuse me. Oh yes. If World at War Remastered is uncensored, and everything is in the game as it should be, I will buy. If everything is back as it used to be, and there's no censoring, swastikas are there, no bullshit with iron crosses, I will buy the game. Just so I can relive that experience, because CoD World at War...
I like it rough, but not that rough.
CoD World at War is, and always will be, my favourite game from the series, simply because it was set in a conflict that I find very fascinating, and also because it was by far the most gruesome, gritty, and the closest experience you could get to World War II in the CoD series. It's the closest you could get. You remember the Vendetta mission in Stalingrad? The intro for that? That still, you know, that sometimes still makes me think, you know, when I see it again. Like, you know, Russian soldiers playing dead, and then the German just walking over and just shooting, you know, the bodies to make sure they're dead. That is the kind of thing that made CoD what it used to be. It was gritty, and it was... You actually somewhat felt like you were there in their place.
Why can I see so clearly now?
Nowadays, that's not what CoD feels like. CoD is just... CoD nowadays is just this overrated first-person shooter played on an outdated game engine. That's literally all I see in Call of Duty now. I see nothing else special in it. And now we can move on to the whole thing with censorship and them using iron crosses instead of swastikas. This is something I don't understand. Because think about it. If you're making a World War II game, yes, you're making it so the player can feel immersed, right? But the player can't feel immersed if there's no swastikas. He simply cannot. because he doesn't feel like he's fighting Nazis, right?
I made a very
And
big mess.
this is a point that I want to bring up because Treyarch using the Iron Cross instead of the swastika is no, it's not kind of. It's very stupid for them to do, simply because, think about it. If you're making a game where one side wins and the other loses, like most games are, right? If you were to just be straight to the point and use swastikas, you would feel like you are fighting Nazis. Correct? Correct. You feel like you're fighting Nazis. If you use an Iron Cross, you're not making me feel like I'm fighting Nazis. You're making me feel like I'm fighting Germans. And for those of you who think that I'm stupid for saying that, let me just be really clear. There's a big difference between a German and a Nazi. There's a clear-cut line between what a German is and what a Nazi is. Next, think about this. Just think about this. If you're using the Iron Cross as the, as the emblem or the, or the sign of the side that you're trying to win against, in a way, yes, in a way. Now, take this somewhat lightly because, I don't know, I might sound like some angry feminist saying this, but just hear me out. If you're using an Iron Cross instead of a swastika to show who you're fighting against, in a way, you are demonizing Germans, because if you know your history, you will know that the Iron Cross has, like as a medal and as a symbol, of German heritage or whatever, the Iron Cross has been around for much longer than the swastika. Of course, the swastika, was first, drawn up as a logo by Hitler and for the Nazi Party in the 1930s or late 20s. That's what I think. Late 20s or early 30s. But the Iron Cross has nothing to do with Nazism. Nothing to do with Nazism in any way. The Iron Cross is simply a... No, I'm keeping the haymaker. The Iron Cross is simply one of the old German, one of the old German medals. Or one of their logos of the army, from what I remember. The swastika, yes, that is definitely a symbol for Nazis. But the Iron Cross is not. The Iron Cross is, is a symbol associated with Germany, but not Nazis. Not Nazis exclusively. Because the Iron Cross has been around, I think, from maybe the... I'm probably going to get this wrong, so if you know the answer, correct me in the comments. I think that the Iron Cross has been around since the late 1890s or early 1900s. That's what I think, but I might be wrong on that. So if you know the real answer, drop it in the comments below. And yeah, the reason that people associate the Iron Cross with Nazis is because soldiers were given it as a medal for their actions on the battlefield. It was a reward for their good service to the German nation and, and to their skill in combat. It's not a way for the Nazis to say, you did well out there killing those Brits, Frenchies and Americans. Have this as a symbol of our party. No, because the Iron Cross was never a symbol of the Nazi Party. It's a symbol of the German army, but not the Nazi Party. There's a big difference between the Nazi Party and the German army. And you got to remember that during World War II, not every single German was a Nazi. That is something that many people do not know for some reason, even though I think they should. That not everyone within Germany supported the Nazis. They actually had quite a lot of opposition. Ah, fuck it. World War II weapons for the win. Right. Because many people don't know this, but the Nazis actually had a lot of opposition in Germany during their establishment in the 30s and during the war. For example, one of the resisting groups within Germany that I am aware of, I think was called the White Rose Movement. I think it was called something like that. And it was basically a group of Germans who I think were maybe in their late teens and early 20s, distributing anti-Nazi leaflets throughout Germany. and from what I know, I think they were arrested in 1943, and all of them were executed for treason. So, if you want to show us, you know, a creative campaign in CoD WaW 2, you can make that a thing, but of course they won't, because it's Treyarch and they don't know how to be creative. All they know how to do now is Murica, someone's about to get liberated. And the White Rose movement was cut short in 1943 and all of its members were executed. So, like I said, not everyone in Germany was a Nazi. That's something that for some reason a lot of people don't know, or it's something that they can't accept. Right, that was a long time of me just ranting on about that. Next, I don't want CoD World War II to include new features, but I think we all know that it will if it comes out. You know, because nowadays Call of Duty can't live without its microtransactions. They got to have them to breathe properly in the Treyarch offices, and I wish I didn't take that boom. You know, COD nowadays just cannot live without their microtransactions, because it's COD, they're money whores, and everyone knows that. And now we can sleekly move on to my thoughts on Black Ops 4, just as a side note. First of all, what genius thought of that name? Seriously, just think about that. When Treyarch was revealing Black Ops 3 in 2015, they said, this is the final game in the Black Ops trilogy, right? Now tell me, if you're a COD fanboy, tell me this. What does trilogy mean? Let me answer that for you. It means 3, or something, or some kind of series where there are only 3, you know, things made in it. For example, the Star Wars trilogy, or the original Star Wars trilogy. There was 3 episodes. The Star Wars prequel, 3 episodes, not 4 or whatever. And rip. Yep. 3 episodes, not 4. So tell me, what level of intelligence do you have to be on to make a trilogy and then make a 4th game?
Thank you, an idiot.
How much of a genius do you have to be to say, yeah, to 3 years earlier say, yeah guys, this is the last game under the name Black Ops, we're wrapping it up, I hope you guys enjoyed it. And then 2018 rolls around and you saying, hey, you guys remember Black Ops? We're making one more game under that name so we can milk the money out of you smart asses. And unfortunately, people are gonna buy it. For example, my good friend IW Tension, I already showed him numerous times that Black Ops 3 just looks like a Black Ops 4 just looks like a Black Ops 3 reskin, because that's what it is. In fact, under the multiplayer trailer, I saw a very good comment that said, COD fans, hey Treyarch, can you guys fix Black Ops 3? And then they said, yeah, sure, here you go. Oh, thanks. Yeah, but you got to give us $60 first. That's Black Ops 4 in a nutshell, and no more quick revives, so rip. The only reason I played Black Ops 3 for this, so it would be more relevant to the commentary. You can see that I don't really play zombies that much anymore, simply because I lost interest in it. I lost interest in it because of Black Ops 4. That's why I lost interest in zombies, because they dropped the trailer of fucking, what was it called? Something Voyage? A zombies map on the Titanic? What genius thought of that? Fucking hell. Yeah, you guys know that tragedy where more than 2,000 people drowned in the icy waters in the Atlantic? Yeah, we're gonna make a zombies map out of that. And Blood of the Dead, you know, the Mob of the Dead remake. No. I feel zero hype towards that map. Yes, Mob of the Dead was a very good zombies map, but I feel zero hype toward Blood of the Dead simply because they're doing it just to, you know, just to draw the money out of the gamers' pockets. We all know that. It's just because, you know, the people who are going to buy Black Ops 4, in my opinion, are either sucking on that COD cock, you know, the kind of people like T. Martin and fucking King Manny, the retard who made a video saying 10 reasons why I'm buying Infinite Warfare, and in his thumbnail he was pointing towards a hydraulic lift. And his first point was, I'm buying it because the new CoD. My answer to that is, you're fucking deluded, and you've got no sense of self-worth if you buy a game just because it's the newest in the series. I already told my friend numerous times, don't buy this game, you're just wasting your money. And he's not listening. You know what? His choice, he wants to buy it, but I will only buy the game if because I bet you they won't sell World at War Remastered separately if it comes out. I bet you they won't. So if they don't, and I have to buy Black Ops 4 with it, I will buy if the game is uncensored and looks like it used to. If it is censored, I'm just gonna say goodbye to Call of Duty forever. That's simply how it's gonna be, because you know that a game company's gotten bad when they can't even remake some of their old fan favorite games. You know that company's gone to shit when they don't even know how to remake their old formula. That's what a lot of people said after they played Modern Warfare Remastered, because they thought it was missing something, and what it was missing was authenticity. How can a game be authentic if you've added a load of new shit into it? It can't be. So we're now at the point where a previously much loved series, you know, Call of Duty, even I used to love CoD. You know what I mean? Even I used to love CoD. We're now in an age where a previously loved series can become so bad in just a decade that it forgets how to recreate its own magical formula. And to be honest, I can say the same for Battlefield as well. I've been playing Battlefield since Bad Company 2, and I love that game. I love that game to bits, and I wish I could play it again, but my Xbox 360 is refusing to read discs, so that's not happening anytime soon. Actually, side note, if I manage to get a game capture device working on my 360, I might do some live streams playing some classic games on there. Yeah, I love the old Battlefield games. I've been playing since Bad Company 2. And up until my Xbox started fucking up, I was still playing that game. Then Battlefield 3. That game was fantastic. I loved it. Of course, it didn't have the best launch, but after they fixed the game, it was very good. You know, it was a very good game, and to this day, if I'm not mistaken, Battlefield 3 is the best-selling game in the series. Then after that, we had Battlefield 4. That had a less successful launch, even less successful than you know, Battlefield 3. And then Battlefield 3, you know, Battlefield 4 gets fixed. Very good game as well. Then we get Hardline, and the community is very split with it, because half the community said, yeah, it's alright, and the other half of the community, the part that I was of, said this isn't Battlefield, this is just a refined version of Cops and Robbers. Because how can you call a game Battlefield when it's, you know, Cops and Robbers? You can't call it Battlefield. I didn't like Hardline. I think it was really shit. Then you had Battlefield 1. I think it was a good game, but it was missing some of the things that made the older games better. Like, for example, in Battlefield 3, the movement system was very fast and very fast-paced, and that's one reason why I like Battlefield 3. That, yeah, of course, the maps were huge because it was Battlefield, but you still had a sense of urgency. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if you're playing and then you're playing online and like an enemy sniper was onto you, you had a sense of urgency that you could get out of there quickly. In the newer Battlefield games, you don't really move around that fast, or that much faster. And I've lost the sense of urgency in playing them. And then we move on to Battlefield 5. Oh dearie me, the trailer. Even someone like me, who's been a long time Battlefield fan, as soon as I saw the trailer, I just I did not know what to say. I honestly didn't. I was lost for words because of how shocking it was. How quickly a franchise could go downhill. I was honestly amazed. Didn't expect it at all. And it's the same story with Call of Duty, you know what I mean? In my opinion, the last good COD game was... And I'm probably going to get slaughtered for this in the comments. In my opinion, the last good COD was... Advanced Warfare. Yes, I know that they introduced a new movement system, but they introduced that because the fans wanted something new, right? Yes. So, they gave the fans something new. Most fans, well, when I say most, I mean maybe 55%, which, you know, is still very split. About 55% of the fans were fine with it, 45 were not, so, yeah. That's kind of how I see Advanced Warfare. It was the start of the community becoming split. As much as I did like the game, I know that there are a lot of people that didn't. And that's of course where we had the introduction of supply drops. But at first, the supply drops weren't that bad, because you could get different variants of guns that actually changed the way some of them felt. Unfortunately, some of them were just straight up overpowered, like... Do you guys remember the Bow 27 Obsidian Steed? How disgusting that thing was. I still remember that thing to this day. If I remember, yeah, I actually had that. So after a while, it got a bit less annoying because I actually had the most overpowered gun in the game. Yeah, but supply drops in Advanced Warfare were fine at first until they introduced, you know, the system where you could buy them with your real money. That's when I started to have a problem with them, because it kind of started to going towards pay to win, because of course there were some really overpowered items that you could get, and the fact that you could just pay to have a good chance of getting them, I think that was a bit absurd. And that's when I kind of started noticing Call of Duty becoming shitter and shitter and shitter. You know what I mean? And then we got Black Ops 5. Black Ops 5? What the fuck am I talking about? Black Ops 3. Initially, I was excited for the game. I thought it was going to be okay. I thought it was going to be... I thought it was going to be almost as good as Black Ops 2. Because Black Ops 2 is, to this day, one of my favourite games in the series. Not my favourite, but one of my favourites. And... yeah, Black Ops 3 drops. I thought it was a meh COD game. Like, it was alright. But it was nothing special to write home about. It just wasn't. Yeah, you had that advanced movement system with wall jumping and shit, but in my opinion it felt a lot worse than the one in Advanced Warfare because it felt so slow and so sluggish, you know what I mean? It just felt like it wasn't meant to be in the game. That's at least what I think. It felt like it wasn't meant to be there, and it was just in there to fill out the empty files. And then after Black Ops 3, we got what was it? It was, oh yeah. And then and then we got the myth, the legend, Infinite Warfare. And I don't really have too much to say about that game. I just think it was really shit. That's really all I need to say. The like to dislike ratio, even now, hasn't really changed. It is still the second most disliked video on YouTube. The only reason that I got Infinite Warfare was to get CoD WaW Remastered, and even that was a disappointment. So guess what? I had it for maybe 2 or 3 months, sold it, because it just wasn't worth my time, and it was simply wasting space on my PS4. So, got rid of it. Worthless is what I thought of it. Oh shit. Shit. My headphones came out, so never mind. And then we moved on to CoD World War II, which, in my opinion, is one of the worst games in the series. In my opinion, I think it's even worse than CoD Ghosts. Simply for the fact of how lazily it was put together. First of all, the maps. those were some of the laziest map designs I've seen in years in any video game franchise. Not even exclusively Call of Duty, any video game franchise. Those are some of the laziest maps I've ever seen made. Drink of water. Yes. Those are some of the laziest map designs I've seen in years. And then we had CoD World War II Zombies, which I think was straight up terrible. There was nothing in there that felt like zombies. Honestly, nothing. The only thing in it that felt like zombies is that for once you were shooting, you know, oh fuck, that for once you were shooting, shooting zombies in a somewhat World War II era. That's about all that I could draw to it that was somewhat similar to the old zombies. And now we're gonna have Black Ops 4, which I think just looks like a reskin of Black Ops 3. And I'm really disappointed that this radio doesn't work. I think it should, but it doesn't. Because in the original Nafta Untitled it did, and it would play music from the campaign. This just doesn't. Oh, and that should have been a swastika. But I'm running out of things to say, which is going to mean I'm cutting the live stream here. So I hope you enjoyed. This isn't my first stream in a while. I don't remember the last time I streamed, but whatever. I hope you're having a good day, and thanks for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one. My brothers. Next video is probably going to be actually edited, unlike this one. This one's probably not going to get any editing because I'm just lazy with some things. Alright, see ya.